He jumps down here and he slides on a boat. And this again, all in one. If he trips on this, he had to be so smooth on that. Freaking amazing. I love this guy. And of course, she had to dance it all. She had to be as good as all the dancers around her who were all professional dancers. And you forget that Ariana Grande is an amazing dancer.
Keep dancing.
Hello, I am Alice Brooks, ASC, and I am the director of photography for Wicked.
And I am Jon M, the director of Wicked. And this is Notes on a Scene. So the scene we're about to see is Prince Fiero singing Dancing Through Life. And this is a moment where he's just come into the new school. He's been kicked out of other schools, but today he's here to say, hey guys, loosen up. You got to cause a little trouble here. So in the beginning, the dancing is very stiff, but he's gonna loosen their joints up. And this is where he sort of starts that craziness. So that's a fake, that's a fake thing that doesn't actually work. But this thing, we call this the tornado wheel. And I don't know if you remember the nuttiness of the tornado. We had to convince a lot of people that it was worth spending this money on a set that spun. So all these things spin in different directions and that it wouldn't be dangerous. Because the weird thing about this one is these things are locked in. So if you get caught in between, your head could get chopped off. So try having that conversation with the insurance company.
And it was so much choreography to just figure out how can the camera move through these ladders and how can we get dynamic shots. And we didn't have the entire tornado wheel for a really long time. We had to do a lot of research and development to figure out how we were going to make this work.
And shout out to many departments that had to make this happen. You had engineers in the back here behind these walls trying to make sure that this thing worked right and that they weren't going too fast or too slow because gravity plays such a big role on how these dancers could work on it. Credit to costume designer Paul Tazwell of creating outfits and shoes that they could actually work in this space because he had to be able to move and that's not easy. And then they're walking on all these books and stuff. So these shoes had to be just right. And they're doing literally flips on this. Credit to Christopher Scott, our choreographer, who had to figure all this out. My job's easy. I just get to say the ideas and he figures it out.
And then Nathan Crowley designed this wheel, and Electric Team and I had to actually work with Nathan to build in lighting all around here and here and here. We built in actual windows so that we would be able to see our dancers in up here and up here. And then we decided to throw two huge lights, two 24 light dinos back there to illuminate the space.
The Johnny Bailey, look at that hair.
Dancing through life, swaying and sweeping.
He's actually doing all of this.
Keeping cool.
And this was one of the trickiest shots to get, just to get the timing of him landing. And we had all these wheels spinning, and we had to very carefully coordinate it. So we worked over and over and over again with Chris Scott to find the timing of the camera with what Jonathan Bailey was going to be doing.
And this is all, I mean, you can see how coordinated this has to be. You can see those things moving. This guy has to slide all the way down. The camera's moving in coordination, so you don't know where the center of gravity is. That's something that we always played in the beginning, was this relationship with gravity, that Elphaba had a very specific relation with gravity, so we wanted to sort of physicalize it in this, that he was sort of playing with that idea, just not in a magical power way. And of course, these are moving, and Chris Scott had to have dancers, but also parkourists who could actually do this in the tornado wheel itself. At some point, they called this the hamster wheel.
Oh, that's right, the hamster wheel.
And I hated that name. I'm like, can we not call it a hamster wheel? So I changed it to the tornado wheel, but people keep calling it the hamster wheel. And then these colors, these blue colors, Alice worked very closely with Paul to figure out, is this blue or is this green? Or is this sea green or what the heck is it? So these were very delicate because we didn't want to step on Jonathan's blue. And it couldn't be green because I would step on Elphaba. So all the color play is very specific in here.
And color is a huge theme throughout the original Wizard of Oz books. And we made sure we infused that beautiful richness in throughout our movie and made our own version of what Technicolor was.
And you think these are real books, but they're actually not. It's just a facade. Now that said, we did have some slots that were real books so they could grab them and do things like that. And of course, Nathan Crowley, production designer, built this beautiful, now everything in Shiz, we wanted to be circular and very flowy in that because Elphaba will give the edges to the circles. So he designed this library in this beautiful way that let a lot of natural light in. That's what I love about Alice, is that it's all about natural light, and things that people would be scared of, like backlighting, is actually what I love about her stuff, that it feels like we're in a place, we're not on a set.
And this set was actually fire lane to fire lane or wall to wall of our sound stage, and from floor to ceiling, 45 feet tall to the top of the domes. The center dome is the highest. That was almost 45 feet high. The set is 185 feet long by 145 feet wide, and we lit it with 495 lights. So it is an incredibly large space, and it was really, really, really fun to do.
And I have no idea that was happening. I just show up and like, cool, hamster wheel, tornado wheel. One shot, the whole thing, everyone had to be right on for this. Chris Scott was there this day because I think I was having a baby at that moment.
You were having a baby.
Those who don't try never look foolish.
This is one of the reasons I worked so closely with Paul Tazwell, figuring out the color of everything, because originally there were a couple of other of our characters, Fanny and Shen Shen, were also in pink. And Jon and I realized we wanted Glinda just to be in this sort of beautiful butterfly of blue around her, and she was the center of that butterfly, and she was in pink.
And look at this costume. It's so fun, it's so great. These oranges pop and these things. And even the logo itself, how many logos that we went through to end up on this Shiz logo that I love so much.
All these buttons.
And all the buttons. Buttons were a thing on this. So,
and knitting,
every detail.
Every detail on this movie. There's a line in The Heights that actually says, it's the little details that tell the world who we are. In this movie, we were creating the world of Oz, and every single little detail by every single craftsperson is so incredibly specific, and all those details created the world of Oz.
And look at this hair and makeup.
Oh yeah, of course, Francis and hair and makeup.
Come on. Everyone had to be individual. No one could just come in and you just roll into something. Everything had to have individual personality. And so, it takes an army again to do this.
And every book had very specific Ozian titles that was incredible.
Mindless and care.
We actually played a lot with this scene with an iPhone to figure out how to move the camera.
It was probably one of the hardest shots to get in the whole movie.
And right here you'll see parkour artists doing flips and things like that. Of course, Jon Bailey had to get in there. And I love this part. This was a moment that Chris and his team came up with, but I love that moment. It just feels so like what it feels like to be young and cool in Oz. And I couldn't dictate that. That just happened from the dancers. Every dancer has their own personality. So when they did that, I was like, yes! And we shot this so many times because I kind of just liked the moment and I just wanted to live it over and over.
It was so joyous, that moment. Everyone on set, the whole crew was just, we were charmed by Jonathan Bailey. He was charming not only the Shiz students, but everyone behind the camera as well.
And you can see their chemistry right there. They're like having so much fun. Here, there's a real laugh from Ari in a second when he lifts her up. She's really scared, like where is he gonna put her? Because he's sort of all over the place too when he was lifting her. These again, parkour, beautiful artists. And then this moment, of course, like everyone's on fire here. This is one of our hardest shots we'll see here.
This one was incredibly hard. So that is one single take that pushes all the way in here. If you go back, and this dancer could do it 4 times. It's an incredibly hard move. And Chris Scott came up to me, he's like, we have 4 shots at this. We had an amazing, amazing Steadicam operator who was with us all through prep, who went to the dance rehearsals, learned every piece of choreography, just incredibly dedicated to telling this story. And he knew he had 4 takes because the dancer could do this 4 times without injuring themselves.
Yeah, it's such a huge thing. The camera doesn't cut when he does that flip, so he's jumping at extreme heights.
And he's moving through this wheel that is spinning. The dancer has to land his flip. It's a Steadicam shot where we rotate the camera fully.
This is not a cut. He's actually going, and the whole bunch of dancers on the other side over there. Again, that lighting from here, this backlighting is just so beautiful. You get to see the tornado wheel here. And I love when they're sitting on here because their silhouettes actually feel like in an old Broadway musical or something, whether it's like a Newsies or something like that. This is actually our first set that we built. So I remember going into this in prep and Nathan was already building and we walked in there like, holy crap, this is just the library we're building this for?
We'll meet there.
Jon is just so charming, and Bach, played by Ethan Slater. Ari's so cute there.
So we have this very theatrical show that we want to make sure we honor, which is the stage show of Wicked. And throughout this movie, I had this idea to incorporate the sun as our spotlight. And so the sun becomes our lighting cues throughout the movie. We've got the sun coming through here, and we've got the sun coming from back here that creates this beautiful light that just fills the space. This whole space was very challenging to light because it was so huge. But luckily we had the Unreal Engine, so we lit everything in the computer first, and then we lit it in reality. But that Unreal Engine got to show me certain lights that we were about to hang weren't going to work for this sort of beautiful sunlit glow.
But what I love about this shot is it keeps going, and you're gonna see it grow bigger and bigger and bigger, and you'll get the sense of why building was something we really needed to do. We needed to build and keep these sets physical. Otherwise, we couldn't riff and find moments like this. You'll see him in a second. He jumps down here and he slides on a book. Maybe I'll just slide right in the front. And this again, all in one. If he trips on this, he had to be so smooth on that. This guy, freaking amazing. I love this guy. And of course, she had to dance it all. She had to be as good as all the dancers around her who were all professional dancers. And you forget that Ariana Grande is an amazing dancer, and she has such good muscle memory. So all of this together was just one of those shots that you're like, oh, this is gonna be fun to shoot.
It's just ballroom. Come on, follow me. You'll be happy to be.
Okay, so before we get back into it, I just want to draw your attention to this one dancer. I mean, they're all amazing, but this one I'm just like fascinated by. And in the edit, I couldn't stop watching. But if you watch over here, this guy, he has to juggle 3 books, so he can't mess up. Everyone can be doing their job, but if he messes up, we're all screwed. So there he is, he's juggling books, real books. That is not CG, he's really juggling. Do you see that? Right over there. And then watch, his next move, he has to run this way. Here he goes. He has to run this way. Jump on here. He has to hit this area. This is the only way we're gonna see him. And he has to do this over and over again. Let's see if he does it. Whoa, oh my goodness.
Amazing.
I mean, that space, that's insane. He's so high in the air. This guy doesn't have, there's no like springboard back there, there's no trampoline. He's just doing it, and he had to do that over and over again. He could never mess up, because if he messed up, then the whole shot was done.
This scene, I can't believe we started Wicked 3.5 years ago, and now we are here about to see our movie premiere.
It's crazy. I'm about to have my 5th child, but the 3rd one just during Wicked. I've had 3 kids just working on Wicked. So that's a whole thing.
It's a lot of babies.
And here's Bowen Yang, and he's awesome in this. And Bronwyn here, you can't see her here, but there she is. They all had to learn, because he was going back and forth from New York, that they had to learn this choreography on video, and then we had to just throw them in. They kill it.
It's just life.
I hope that when people come see Wicked, they get this giant cinematic experience. It's something when I used to watch movies as a kid that I felt. Something at the level of Cleopatra and Ben-Hur, where things are physical and real and we have big musical numbers. But at the end of the day, that it's intimate, that you fall in love with these girls, because in the end of the day, it is about these girls, stupid, is what we always said on the day. And that you fall in love with this relationship, and you get encouraged that hard things aren't a bad thing. That we're all good, we're all wicked, and we all have to forgive each other and give each other grace. But the only way out is through. I think that's a theme of our time, and a moment that I think that this movie shows.
Jon asked me very early on in prep what my goal was for the movie, and I said that it would be the greatest, most beautiful love story between these 2 best friends. And you watch the movie, and the 2 women just fill the space with joy and love and laughter and emotion and friendship, and I'm so excited for people to get to see this.
It's just life. So keep dancing through.